True crime is our passion, but let's face it, it can get heavy. That's why we created Monthly Mood, a space to lighten the mood and lessen the load. Once a month, we invite you to step away from the doom and gloom and join us for something a little different. From intriguing oddities and entertaining tangents to thought-provoking topics that inform and inspire, Monthly Mood is your true crime palate cleanser, because even the most dedicated detectives need a mental refresh.
Hi, this is Caitlin, and welcome to Keystone Cold Cases. Chelsea will be joining me today. Hey, Chelsea, how are you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Today, I'm going to be doing something a little special for our monthly mood. While we usually stick to Pennsylvania cold cases, we've got two gripping stories of women who vanished under suspicious circumstances, both involving husbands under the microscope. These aren't Keystone cases, but they are powerful reminders of domestic violence patterns that echo unsolved mysteries right here in PA. First up, I'm going to start with the Suzanne Simpson case. She's from Texas, and then I'll be doing Nikki Saelee from California. Listener discretion advised. These involve allegations of abuse and murder, so let's dive in. Let's start with Suzanne Simpson. Suzanne was a 51-year-old real estate agent, a mom of four, living what seemed like the picture-perfect life in Alamos Park, an affluent neighborhood in San Antonio, Texas. She was described by friends as vibrant, successful, and deeply devoted to her family. On October 6, 2024, everything changed. Suzanne attended a birthday party at the Argyle, an exclusive club in nearby Alamo Heights, with her husband Brad Simpson and their 5-year-old daughter. Witnesses later reported a heated verbal altercation between the couple at the event. Loud arguments that spilled over into the night. And it didn't stop there. After leaving the party around 8:30, surveillance footage shows Suzanne and her daughter at a local H-E-B grocery store. By 9:15 p.m., she called a family friend and headed to their house for about 10 minutes. Then things get dark. A neighbor across the street from the Simpsons' home witnessed a physical struggle in the front yard. The neighbor saw Brad grabbing at Suzanne as she tried to pull away, chasing her, and then they both disappeared into like a wooded area behind the house. Screams were heard coming from the woods shortly after. I thought it was a little strange that the neighbor didn't do anything about it, but
that was going to be my question. They didn't call the cops or anything?
Not that I know of. They from what I understand, they didn't do anything. They saw this go down and didn't do anything. I could be wrong, but I couldn't find anything about it.
Sometimes I think it's because they just don't want to be involved, you know? They don't know if it's serious enough or if it's just like a one-time thing.
Yeah.
Because these aren't people that are like in our lives. Like, I'm not close with my neighbors. I know you're not close with your neighbors either. No. But I always think you should take cautionary measures if you see something go down, because you don't know.
Yeah, I agree. If you hear like a scream and somebody running and, you know, people grabbing each other, I think it's good to take a precautionary measure. But I mean, I agree that, you know, sometimes people they don't want to get involved in other people's like marital relationships. So, Suzanne, she called her mother that night, reporting pain in her arm, back, and neck from being assaulted by her husband, Brad. Their older daughter, Chandler, later told a school counselor that her dad had hit her mom in the face and had slammed her against the wall. The family's 5-year-old even corroborated some of this. Brad, meanwhile, claimed that Suzanne had lost her phone at the store, but minutes after her call to her mom, he used an AT&T app to suspend her service. So I guess he knew that she had called her and he suspended the service so that she couldn't call anybody.
How controlling is that? That is just awful.
I know. No surprise when he was arrested 3 days later on October 9th for assault, family violence, and unlawful restraint. He had bruises and lacerations on his arms and hands, but didn't seem shocked by the arrest. Fast forward to November 7th, 2024, and Brad was charged with murder, even without a body. The 15-page affidavit is packed with circumstantial evidence. The next morning, October 7th, surveillance shows Brad's truck loaded with white trash bags, a large ice chest, and a heavy-duty trash can, and a bulky item wrapped in a blue tarp. He heads to Bourne, about 30 miles away, stops at Whataburger, asks for directions to the nearest dump, buys cement, Clorox, trash bags, and bug spray at the Home Depot, all with cash. His phone turned off and in airplane mode. Surprise, surprise. Later footage shows the truck at a gas station, minus the trash bags, but still with the tarp-covered item. He spent 13 minutes in Bandera, where investigators believe he disposed of something large. Searches turned up more red flags. At the family's Bandera property, they found a burn pit with Brad's destroyed cell phones and a laptop, a motorized saw with Suzanne's DNA on it that was hidden, notes on his phone apologizing for assaults in August 2023 and the night she vanished. And get this, Suzanne had told her banker in August 2024 that if she ever went missing, to look for her in a lake.
Now that is wild. Like, of all people to tell, you tell your banker.
I wonder if she was, like, trying to set something up in case something happened to her. Because, like, I don't know. It's a strange... Unless she was good friends with the banker, but I thought that was a little strange, too. Why tell the banker that?
Yeah.
No body has been found, despite searches in dumps, landfills, and wooded areas, but Texas law allows prosecution without one. So, Brad's trial ended up being delayed due to all that major flooding that they had in Texas.
Wait, is that the flooding where those poor, like, that girls' summer camp where all of them perished? Is it that flooding?
I believe so.
That was a terrible flood.
They were saying that they postponed it because they needed the resource, like the people who were, I guess, working the investigation, they needed them as resources to, like, work all this flood stuff, so...
Oh my gosh, the stories out of that were just wild.
I
mean,
know.
Obviously, probably this was one of them, but just the heartbreak of
So
that
sad.
entire flood.
It was awful. I was like, I read so many stories about that were just, like, heartbreaking.
Very.
So he's still in Bexar County Jail on a $3 million bond, facing murder, tampering with evidence, aggravated assault, and weapons charges. His business partner, James Cotter, is also charged with evidence tampering. His trial's in May 2025. Chandler publicly accused her dad on Instagram, calling out the abuse and control. Even Brad's brother Barton urged him to cooperate, saying it's not how they were raised. But Brad lawyered up and went silent. Now, James Cotter, there was, like, some text messages going on between him and talking about, like, hiding a gun or something like that. And I believe he lives in an area that he drove to, like Bandera or something. So I think he may have, like, given evidence to him, or they believe he helped him in some way. This case screams domestic violence escalation. Suzanne's family and friends filled the courtroom, emotional and seeking justice. It's a stark reminder that in PA we have over 8,000 unsolved homicides, many tied to intimate partner violence. If this were here, it'd fit right in with the cases like the 1979 Susan Raynert murder in Harrisburg.
You want to know which one it reminds me of that is actually current right now? And it's one we did a case on, and I know I'm going to get a lot of shit because I can't say her last name because she's Polish, but it is that mom who vanished in the 2000s. Her name's Anna. Do you remember that one? Anna Mikhalczyk?
If I saw a pic, I think I know who you're talking about, but I would have to see a picture just to be sure, but I think I know what you're talking about.
Her husband just got arrested and they don't have a body, but it's been years. And that's local to us. It's like Malvern.
Isn't there another one that just happened recently where, like, a girl was found at the bottom of, like, a cliff and she was thrown off, like, they believe her husband killed her, and it was, like, at a cabin that the family owned? I thought that was in PA, but I could be totally wrong. It was, like,
I have personally not heard that one.
I think it was semi-recent. I can't remember the name, but, okay, so the second one, I'm going to shift to our second story. Nikki Saelee-McCain. A lot of people have probably heard about this because on August 20th, her husband was just arrested, and it's pretty, like, gaining a lot of traction publicly.
I actually have no idea about this case at all, so I'm excited to hear about it. Well, not excited, but yeah, you know what I mean.
Yes. Nikki Saelee-McCain was a 39-year-old mom of 4 in Redding, California, born into a tight-knit family, a city nestled in the rugged beauty of Shasta County. Known to her loved ones as a beacon of warmth and resilience, Nikki was the kind of mom who lit up rooms with her smile. She had 4 children whom she adored fiercely and was deeply connected to her sisters, Chloe Saelee and Kay Saelee Ford. Family photos show her laughing at barbecues, cheering at kids' events, ordinary joys that made her extraordinary. Sadly, she was no stranger to abuse. Her story starts in December 2023. This is where the cracks become chasms. On a cold winter night, Nikki endured what can only be described as a nightmare. According to police reports and her own harrowing statements to deputies, Tyler, her husband, subjected her to a 3-hour assault at their home on Olinda Road in Anderson, California, a rural property. Go ahead.
That's a long time. 3 hours. I feel like I have read that, assaults happen when, like, basically the assailant, it has, like, high burst of oh gosh, I just blanked on the word. Adrenaline, yeah. Or, like, they're on a high. But usually, like, the amount of force it takes to assault somebody,
For 3 hours?
Yes. That, yeah. I mean, it's got to be tiring, not to say it's, like, a good thing, but, like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, there was a 3-hour assault at their home on Olinda Road in Anderson, California, a rural property that would later become a focal point of the investigation. Nikki arrived at a Redding hospital, battered and bruised, her face swollen and unrecognizable. She told investigators that Tyler had bound her wrists and ankles with restraints, taped her mouth shut, and beaten her relentlessly. "I think he tried to kill me," she whispered to her sister Chloe, who rushed to her side. Nikki was in fear for her life, believing that she might not survive the night. The attack was so severe that it left visible trauma, and she was explicitly stated in her report that she felt her end was near. This wasn't a one-off. It was a culmination of years of abuse. Prosecutors later described the couple's relationship as volatile, with Tyler McCain allegedly making criminal threats and using force to likely cause great bodily injury. Nikki, the key witness, filed charges against him, felony counts of corporal injury to a spouse, false imprisonment, assault with force likely to produce great bodily injury, and criminal threats. Tyler was arrested, pleaded not guilty, and was released on bond. A criminal protective order was issued, barring him from possessing firearms or approaching Nikki. But as we'll see, compliance was never his strong suit.
And it never really is. If they have intention to kill, they're going to do it. They don't care. They don't care.
Nope. A settlement conference was scheduled for June 3rd, 2024. Nikki was set to testify, potentially sealing Tyler's fate and freeing her from the cycle of violence. Little did anyone know this testimony would never happen. Fast forward to May 17th, 2024. Nikki visited a relative at the hospital. Then, I think it might have been like her brother-in-law or something like that. And then she texted her sister Chloe around midnight that she was driving her mother-in-law's truck back home near the Wind River Casino. That was her last contact. By May 22nd, her sister's reporting her missing to Redding PD. So it was like I don't know, I think 4 days, when was it, the 17th? Yeah, 5 days had gone by. That she wasn't answering any of their calls, nothing like that, so they reported her missing. And Nikki's Chevy Avalanche was found abandoned on Highway 36 near the Shasta, I don't know how to say this, Tehama line on May 25th. Yeah. Reeking of decomposition from the covered bed with a bloodstained white sheet confirmed as Nikki's DNA, other evidence pointed to Tyler as the main source of non-blood DNA in the truck. A search warrant at the Anderson home turned up a loaded M1 carbine rifle, high-capacity mags, ammo, and drug paraphernalia, violating a protective order. Now, I think that's a good point, too, because if he was assaulting her for, 3 hours straight, maybe he was on, some kind of bender, and...
That is very true, because those highs can last a long time.
And this was all violating the protective order, because he wasn't supposed to have any guns or anything like that. Tyler tried cashing a joint U.S. Treasury check right after, leading to forgery charges. So I guess it was, in both their names, and he tried cashing it. In April 2025, he was pulled over for erratic driving, throwing stuff out the window. Cops found Nikki's partially burned driver's license in his wallet. The case went from missing person to homicide in March 2025 after the FBI and Homeland Security raids. A confidential informant said Tyler confessed to killing her during a May 18th argument. I didn't write this in the notes, but I also wanted to point this out. Her family, so there was a lot of people that were kind of keeping an eye on his homestead, and he was steady burning things. And I mean burnt, not like a little trash pile, having full on huge fires on his property, and there was several of them.
That's crazy, because I mean, maybe this is not important, but I know it's in California. Don't they have crazy burn bans, especially as of recent with all the wildfires out of control?
I'm pretty sure one of his fires actually started a wildfire. I could be wrong, but if I remember correctly when I was reading it. And what happened was he tried to say it was a blowback from a catalytic converter or something that started it, so they couldn't really do anything about it. They couldn't
That's ridiculous, because I feel I don't even know how to say it. Sometimes people do stuff without thinking of the heavy consequences. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but down the street from me, there is a storage unit place. And for the PA people, it was very, very, very dry last season. I don't know if you remember that. People in Harleysville, their wells they dried up. That's how bad it was.
Oh, wow.
But someone was doing work at a storage facility, and they, I guess, threw their cigarette butt down. It caught the entire thing, and it went up in flames. And it's still, under investigation. But it's so hard because, that one mistake causes so much damage in a wildfire. I mean, half the building went up, but a wildfire can destroy complete homes and properties.
Oh, yeah, especially out in California. It gets really bad there because it's so dry. So prosecutors believe Tyler murdered Nikki to silence her testimony. Her court date was June 3rd, 2024, just weeks away. The original DV charges were dismissed in July 2024 without her to avoid double jeopardy and protect the homicide probe. On August 20th, 2025, Tyler was arrested for murder with a special circumstance preventing testimony, refiled DV counts, illegal firearm possession, forgery, and traffic violations. He pleaded not guilty at arraignment, held without bail. Preliminary hearing is September 3rd, 2025. I'd have to check up on that if it's still happening, but I haven't heard anything that it's not. Preliminary hearing September 3rd, 2025 could mean life without parole if convicted. Nikki's body still missing, but California law does not require it. So we got two cases where both bodies are missing, but the laws there don't require a body, just enough evidence. So,
well, I think down the line that's going to be like an ultimate thing for all the states, just with so much more evidence as technology grows, as
yep.
Forensic science grows. Just because I have noticed there are so many more cases that are winning without a body.
Yep.
I won't want to say it's becoming easier, because I am sure the detectives have to put a lot of work in to get those convictions, but it's just way more noticeable today than it was even like 10, 20 years ago.
Or with like, the ancestry things, like they're solving so many cases with just that ancestry websites because family members like will put their DNA in there, and then they'll run this DNA that they can't find, and it'll link to a family member, and there you go. So
exactly,
there's a lot of things they can use now. Her sisters, Chloe and Kay, are devastated but relieved. Kay said hearing the DNA evidence was emotional, but gives confidence and conviction. Tyler even publicly, for like the first time ever, even though she was missing for like a whole year at this point, he publicly pleaded for her return in March 2025, saying that he missed her 4 days before his arrest. A $30,000 reward stands for her location. Like Suzanne, this highlights intimate partner violence. Stats show half of female murder victims are killed by intimate partners. These cases, they're not in PA, mirror are Keystone cold cases, disappearances tied to abuse, no bodies, husbands as suspects. In Pennsylvania, think of the 1993 Lynn Stansfield and Dale Wolf double murder, or the 2019 Tyrone Shaw case, unsolved, haunting families. It's a call to action. Domestic violence hotlines are crucial. The national hotline is 1-800-799-7233. In PA, you can contact the Pennsylvania Coalition Against Domestic Violence or local police. For Suzanne, tip Alamos Park PD at 210-822-2002. And for Nikki, Shasta County Sheriff's Major Crimes at 530-245-6135 or MCU at shastacounty.gov. If you know anything, speak up. These families deserve closure. And thank you for joining us on Keystone Cold Cases. That's all we have for this episode of Keystone Cold Cases podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and please consider leaving us a review wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to find out more about this podcast, the hosts, and the cases we cover, or if you want to suggest a case, please visit us at kccpod.com or send us an email at keystonecoldcases@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Facebook at Keystone Cold Cases and on Instagram and TikTok at KCCPod. Follow us on YouTube at Keystone Cold Cases. Please remember never to reach out to family or friends of the victims, only to law enforcement if you have any tips. This episode was researched and hosted by me, Caitlin. Find all of our sources, social info, and contact information at kccpod.com. Theme music by Darren Mackins and production assistance from Shannon Bickle. Join us again next week for another case to sleuth out.